Welcome back to that God Power channel. This is the channel where we're going to unlock the God Power land dormant on the inside of you. But first today, we're going to keep on breaking down the book of Genesis. We're in chapter 13. Last time we did chapter 12. And one thing I had to say about chapter 12 is Abram. If you can remember, we're talking about the main character, Abram, right now. And last time he lied because he was scared that he was going to die from the Egyptians because his wife was so beautiful. And even though he lied, he got kicked out of Egypt, right? That was kind of like the consequence. However, if you paid attention, he got more wealth than he came in there with. He left with more than he came with. So it's like it proves that even though we will mess up sometimes as humans, God will still bless us, especially if he's chosen us. You know what I'm saying? Abram was chosen by God. So, I mean, God, even though Abram made a mistake out of fear, God still blessed him. But with no further ado, let's break down chapter 13, because this is good. So what happens is Abram left Egypt and they traveled. Let's turn it sideways here. So they traveled to Negev with his wife and Lot and all that they owned. So Abram was very, very rich in livestock, silver, and gold at this time. Now I told you, Abram was balling. But from Negev, they continued traveling by stages towards Bethel. And they pitched their tents between Bethel and Ai, where they camped before. So we've seen this place before. This is where they were before they went to Egypt. This is where they are setting up camp right now. And this is the place where Abram had built the altar. And there he worshiped the Lord again. So it was marked by the altar that he built. Now, should we be building altars today? And are we building altars metaphorically? Are we? And if we are those altars to God? Make it think, right? Anyways, Lot, who was traveling with Abram, had also become very wealthy with flocks of sheep, goats, herds of cattle, many tents. But the land could not support both Abram and Lot with all of their flocks and herds living so close together. So even Abram's nephew was balling. Now, what did they do to acquire this wealth? Well, a lot of this was given to them from the Egyptians. You know what I'm saying? The Egyptians, they get out of here, because they caused the plagues. The plagues came on them, and they're just like, yo, get out of here. But they were giving those gifts to Abram because of his wife. They thought that was her brother. And so Abram had to come up, basically. He was already rich, but now he's rich, really rich. And so is his nephew. So what happens next is disputes broke out between the herdsmen of Abram and Lot. Their two herdsmen got into disputes. So not necessarily Abram and not necessarily Lot, but the herdsmen, the people that were working for them, or working their livestock, those people started arguing, right? At that time, the Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land. So let's look at what Perizzites are, right? It's not parasites, right? Let's look at Perizzites. Perizzites. All right, I'm in Genesis chapter 13, and I just read that Canaanites and Perizzites were in the land. I know that Canaanites are descendants of Ham, but who are the Perizzites?
The Perizzites were a group of people who lived in Canaan during the time of Abraham. They are often mentioned alongside the Canaanites in the Bible, and they were one of the many indigenous peoples in the region. Not much detail is given about their specific origins, but they were likely part of the broader group of Canaanite tribes.
There we go. The Perizzites were just a different group of people. It doesn't have a lot of, we don't know who they're connected to. There's not a lot of information on them. But they were also in that land too. So just think about this. They're not not a big city or a big sprawling city like there was in Egypt, but they are in a well-populated area enough where there's clashing between herdsmen. So finally, Abram said to Lot, "Let's not allow this conflict to come between us or our herdsmen. For after all, we're close relatives. You're the homie, bro. The whole countryside is open to you. Take your choice of any section of the land you want, and we'll separate. If you prefer the land on the right, then I'll go left." And so Lot took a long look over the fertile plains of the Jordan Valley in the direction of Zoar. The whole area was well watered everywhere, like the Garden of Eden. Not the Garden of Eden, but it says the Garden of the Lord, or the beautiful land of Egypt. What is the garden of the Lord? Is it the same thing as the Garden of Eden? I would think so, right? Um, and it just, in my Bible, it clearly mentions that this is before the land of Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. So this is really beautiful, beautiful valley, like well watered. It looked like somewhere in Egypt. Lot, he chose for himself the whole Jordan Valley to the east of them. He went there with his flocks and his servants and parted company with his uncle Abram. So Abram settled in the land of Canaan, and Lot moved his tents to a place near Sodom and settled among the cities of the plain. So now you got a separation between Lot and his Lot and his uncle Abram. Abram and Lot separate, not because it's bad blood. Their peoples will have bad blood, but they didn't. They was like, yo, let's not try to make this a thing. So let's just separate our people. But they're in the same kind of area, right? They're not too far. And Lot is close to Sodom and Abram is in Canaan. So let's remember that. But where Lot was, the people of this area were extremely wicked and constantly sinned against the Lord. After Lot had gone, the Lord had said to Abram, look as far as you can see in every direction, north, south, east, and west. I'm giving you all this land for as far as you can see, to you and your descendants as a permanent possession. And I will give you so many descendants like the dust of the earth that cannot be counted. So God's promising Abram a territory and a kingdom, meaning a population of people that will be his people, literally his people, his descendants. So that's something that God promised Abram. And that's why if you've ever heard the song Father Abraham, that's talking about this guy, Abram. He hasn't got called Abraham yet, but this is the same dude, though. Trust me, we'll get there. All right, so Abram moved his camp to Hebron, and there he settled there near the oak grove belonging to Mamre, and there he built another altar to the Lord. And that's the end of chapter 13. So just chapter 13 detailed the separation between Lot and Abram. Abram and his nephew Lot separated and they went their own ways. Now what's going to happen that they're all on their own. Remember, Abram still with Sarai. Okay, so Sarai didn't get out of the picture. Abram is still with Sarai. She's going to stick with Abram. But Lot is now out of the picture and in his own little story. So let's see what happens next in chapter 14. Actually, I think this is a good part. I like this part of the Bible. All of this story is actually pretty good. It's like a really fun, I mean, I wouldn't say fun because there's a lot of struggles and stuff, like people are struggling and stuff, but it's a really good read, man. This is like a good story. So hope you learned something for chapter 13. Can't wait to break down chapter 14. Look out for that coming soon. But in the meantime, make sure you do something good for somebody, love somebody, give something to someone. It'll make you feel dope, bro. Trust me. And then, most importantly, beyond all of that, I just want y'all to, I just want you to remember that you got that God power.
On your heart, tugging on your